Hi, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Hilk Empath. I just like having these little talks, these little conversations on the way I feel about things. I was just listening to Broken Bones, Kaleo. Is that how you pronounce it? Kaleo. I've had this album for a few years, and I guess I never noticed the beginning of the song. The devil's gonna make me a free man. Oh, really? E2, Kalielo? My name's. Wow, man, it's everywhere. Everywhere. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to invite God into the room, into the chat, into the experience that we're having here. I want people to know this is a safe place, and, you know, I'm about God here. And I don't mind. I don't judge what people are into and what their belief systems are and things like that. Here, mine. You know, we're a godly. I'd like to believe that we're a high vibrational bunch, this same freak tribe, and I don't want none of that low vibey stuff here. You know. But because I was thinking of pockets of the future. He's been putting a lot of videos. Everybody's like inspired right now. Everybody's putting out extra content because brain power is just firing like crazy, and he put one together about how Biden likes to appreciates the work ethic of Satan and always says how he works like the devil. And I'm like, well, that adds up, you know. I was listening to episode 7 of Jesse Zabora on Aquarius Rising Africa. I've been trying to listen to it in bits and pieces all day, but it's been a very busy day for me. I freaking checked the transmission fluid, and I was like, she was at the bottom of the dipstick. I'm like, dude, it's the transmission that's rattling around in there. I know it, you know. So I checked it, and she didn't have. I'm like, I just had it serviced. They didn't check they didn't check the transmission fluid. They didn't check. And the all point check, they didn't check, and it almost toasted my transmission because it didn't have any fluid. But I walked up to the auto parts store and I called my father figure, Daddy O, and Mr. I, and I was just like, I'm like, where do I put it? He's like, you gotta get a funnel. I'm like, oh, it goes in the. Okay, I thought that. I know that. I know that there's substance. He's like, you gotta check the fluids. I'm like, I just had the oil change. I thought they'd check. He's like, Marge, you know people don't get paid to do the jobs that they do. I mean, you know that people aren't doing the jobs that they're getting paid to do. You know people don't, Marge. You gotta check your fluids, Marge. It's like, the first of every month I will check the oil, I will check the brake fluid, and I will check the transmission fluid, sir. But she runs like a champ, man. See, she don't got the original motor in her. She's got like a 351. She got, like, I like to say, she got the heart of a Cadillac, the body of a ram. Which is cool for me because I'm Aries. I'm a ram. I got a ram tattoo back here somewhere, back in this region. I forget about that guy. I got that one at a tattoo shop, long closed and off at or in Omaha, Nebraska. South O is what they called it. South Omaha. Like, really? It's where all the stockyards were. Stockyards, tunnels, people farming, or people figuring out the truths. Yeah, more truths. Who are you shocked about? Who are you shocked about? Who are you really sad about? The ones, the fallen angels, the demons, the ones that the glorifying, the and sanctifying, the ones that have been perpetuated in Lucy fairy tale. Which ones make you sad? Don't let them make you too sad. Hang on to the good stuff of what they were, of who they were before they really succumbed to the dark side. That's all it is ego. Is people like, I want to do what I want when I want. And I'm not going to discipline myself, and I don't care who I hurt, and I don't care if I hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't care if I kill anybody. I don't care. That self will run riot. There's no spirit in that. There's some burning going on around here, and I'm a little skittish for burning right now, because I was so excited about the air being clean. I'm like, oh, you know, It's not like fire, like threatening fire, but it's somebody's burning something, and it's just like, it's triggery. It's triggery. Well, who is it triggered, man? If you ain't have some kind of trauma in your life right now, then you probably are the cause of a whole lot of trauma in other people's lives. If you don't have any, then you're causing it, because you're either on one side of the coin or the other. I got my what might be my last haircut for the fall, because it's starting to get chilly. Went down to see Calvin today at the barber shop. Man, people are getting greedy. A lot of these places just got bailouts. Right? A lot of these businesses because that's what the blue bloods do, the lizard bloods do. They like to keep everything. I live in a blue blood state, the control freak state. I guess there's a big old protest of the Proud Boys. I don't get too caught up in too many outside groups, political groups, because there's shadow and light in every group, and I don't know what everybody stands for in that, and I'm not going to get caught up because I don't. They might be for the Luciferi, I don't know. It ain't, my mission right now is to get me and Mom to a place where we can be at peace for a little while, because all hell's about to break loose, y'all. This was my first dog. I see. I'm such an animal level. This was Duncan. When he passed on online, I followed him for several months. I love this. Like, I fell in love with this dog, and when he passed on, I cried for 3 days. I cried for 3 days. This was back in 2010, 11, and then no, it was later than that. It's like 2013. 14 is when I left Creighton. Anyway, and then that's how I met Obi Dog. That's how, because I see things, because it's so hard for me to connect with people in my local. I'm always trying to connect with people. Hi, I'm Marge. Hey, everywhere I go, it's just, they fall short in the local area, so they don't really like my kind around here, whatever kind that is. In Salem, Oregon, on the 45th parallel, there's a lot of dark black witches in this city. There's a lot of dark freaking evil in Salem. There's so much evil in Salem, Oregon. Oh gosh, it is so corrupt, dude. 120 cops. 120 cops. I haven't had running water in 3 years because the city is so stingy they won't carry a loan, but the freaking governor made it fit for 120 cops, employees. They get an $80+ million police facility. It's a slap in the face because it's right across the street where hundreds of people live in tents. And it's just like, dude, that could be that, you could have gotten half the bells and whistles, but the Bros Club, they deserve all the stuff, and even though they all got fat and let themselves go. Remember when cops used to be scary? There's good ones. There's a couple of good ones, but if you look at how many good ones there are, the ones that care about themselves enough to talk to counselors and to process and to have a spiritual conditioning and to exercise and to stay balanced so that they're most productive, at their most fullest potential and being of the most service, Yeah, there's how many of those? I'm sure they exist, because if I couldn't imagine it, it wouldn't exist. So I'm sure they exist, but not. I saw a cop. He was about freaking tipping the scales about 320 in his SUV. Just he reminded me of one of those freaking toys in the 70s where they didn't have legs. Just a little fat man that drove the truck. That's what he looked like. I don't see it as disrespectful at all. I'm just talking in matters of facts. And if that man gave a fuck about himself, maybe he'd put down the donut and maybe walk around the block a time or two. And you know what? And then I caught him freaking parked off under a tree, under a shade tree. Because that's what they do, is they just go off and they sleep. And then they come back and they're like, man, I worked so hard today. Cleaning up the streets in a stoner state. And it's just like the jig is up, I have my own opinion because I just have been a little dykey gay girl, and freaking any authority figures have just tried to make my life miserable for a little long time. But I got my sense of humor about things, and I know about stuff, and I'm respectful. And they try and get my goat, and I just don't let them get my goat no more. You ain't gonna sacrifice my goat. Get the fuck off my goat. That's my goat. So what did I call it? Blinker fluid. Blinker fluid. That's what they tell the new airmen. You got to take the truck up to motor pool and tell them you got to change the blinker fluid. So the new airman would go up. Guys in motor pool would freaking give him a ration of shit. Because, yeah. Blinker fluid. Got to make sure you check that blinker fluid. There's no such thing as blinker fluid, in case you're wondering. It's just shit that people always say. People like to just put 3 people through the ropes just because they can. Because they're bored with their own lives. But you know what all that does? It all makes you age very ungracefully. Are you looking around and seeing who's really, really aging ungracefully? Who is aging ungracefully? I'm starting to get stress spots. I noticed that, little brown spots. Because stress freaking gives you spots, man. It makes you, you know? You know, that's why I meditate. I got to meditate about an hour, 20 minutes today. It was pretty cool. And I got to go for a nice walk up to the parts store with my freaking funnel and my transmission fluid, walking right past the shop that didn't fucking check it when I had it serviced. Hey, look at this! Yeah! No, I didn't do none of that because that ain't the God way. I'm trying to go to the light. But, you know, back a couple months ago, I would have gone in and freaking chewed them out. I would have told them how stupid they were. And I understand that they're mad that they haven't seen their penis in a number of years because they let themselves go. But that doesn't mean that you can't not diagnose my shit proper. You know? You know, but hey, you know what? Women can act like that too, because women that are so in their masculine, it's that hoggy stuff. I'll give you a few examples of women that are overtrot and they're overwrought, overstretched in their that HCR or HRC, whatever her name is. That woman is wicked. She makes my stomach turn. She's evil. I hope she's no longer on the earth. She's evil incarnate. And I know other people, women just like her. I know how they feel. I know it. And you know how I know them? Like, because I used to watch them at meetings in recovery, and they all wear the same shoes and wear the same perfume and wear the same purses and all this stuff like that. And you know, I used to watch their eyes, because you can see when somebody rolls their eyes. You can see when somebody rolls their eyes. And this woman would hug people and then like roll her eyes and be like, oh. Like you could see her posture and her mannerisms that she was just faking it. But I saw it. Oh, it's just, you know, there's arranged marriages and everything. It's all about genes and DNA, and you got good genes or you got bad genes, and people can turn good genes bad and people can turn bad genes good, you know. We all have the power of choice in which we live in our heart space. More people are starting to live for other people, man. People are contributing to my channel. I'm so grateful. People are just contributing their time being here on my channel. You know, it's taken me 4 years in March. It'll be 4 years in March I started, because, you know, it's been a slow going thing for me, because I knew that I would not promote, and I would not, you know, I don't do that. I'm one of the variety that likes to be recommended by my friends, but I haven't had friends in a while, so it's taken me a while to establish myself back into, well, see, what the thing of it is I've been living on 5D Earth for the last couple years, and I'm waiting for everybody else to raise in their frequency and join me and step into the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th dimension. You know, it depends on where you go in the world and what dimension you want to be on. You know, you don't have to travel to Mars to be on places on Earth that are the same terrain, same, you know, that put you in the same mind frame as being on Mars. You know, and plus when people venture out in their dream state, because we're just spirits having a human experience, you venture out in your dream state, that's your spirit, your soul, experiencing incarnate from higher dimensions, and you are on other planets, and you are in other solar systems, and then you come back and you're like, no, that's not real. It's like, perception is reality. So even if you're in a restful state, your perception of what is happening, even if you're in a dream. And some people just don't dream. I think people that don't dream have some sort of disconnect. Had some got they did the disassociation, the splintered fragmentation, their psyche, all parts of them as what they had the potential to be in all their essence when they were good and whole, got disheveled, and then parts didn't come back. And those parts that didn't come back, they're causing blankness, blanks. People are firing blanks. Just, some people just straight up don't remember their dreams. I have freaking lived my the good. That's my social hours in my dreams, because that's where I get to hang out with my soul family, my same freak tribe. People I haven't met in real life yet, but I know they're there. Yeah, I know they're there. We're all connected. People just have been vibing so low for so long, man. Vibing so low. Just, everything sucks. People have been, because I've been people. People have been withdrawing. People have been isolating. And spirit power of God moves through people. So you got to connect with people whether you like it or not. And this is something I fought within myself for years. People suck, man. Yeah, Marge, because you suck. Every person that sucks is because you're looking at them like they're sucky. Instead of looking at them reflecting the positive aspects of you. I get judgy, man. I'm INFJ. INFJ for judgy. Judgment, I assess things. Doesn't mean I hold things against people, except unless they're freaking Luciferians. Then I'm not for the Luciferians. We ain't gonna be friends if you're Luciferian. We ain't gonna. You got other stuff to do, and I got other stuff to do. And we're probably not gonna hang out and drink punch and shit like that. So, not to each his own. To each his own. Just do it over there. I don't care how people live, just do it over there, way over there. Don't catch me hurting. Don't let me catch you hurting no freaking kids or animals and doing none of that freaky deaky sex magic darkness shit either. I feel like I'm gonna put in a chew. I used to chew skull berry flavored, or just stroll skull straight. I'm like, I chew skull straight. It's the only straight I do. Then I got worried about the possibility of one day getting like cancer. So I'm like, no, can't do that no more. I smoked. I mean, I've had a lot of freaking demons attached to me. I've had a lot of freaking outwardly desires because I had so much disdain, so much fear, so much emptiness inside that I just used everything I could possibly. Alcohol, relationships with terrible women. terrible, just Jezebels. I like Jezebel. I like trashy. No, I like trashy slay girls. I like bimbos. I never could be a slutty girl, but I sure like a slutty girl. I kid. They're really classy. All of them. They're all wonderful. It was all me. It was all me. I had to cut them free just to save them from me. I'm only laughing because if you knew these bitches, you'd be laughing too. No, they aren't even really bitches. Oh, the fall colors are really cool. I gotta change gears. See, I talk trash like that, and then freaking something happens to the big red trucks. I gotta know. I didn't mean it. Praise Jesus. Alright, what's in the talkie room? Hey, TDK! What's up? Hey, Carl. Oh. Hello, everyone. I'm glad that you all in the room with me today. Spirit Tree Revival. The hunt for blinker fluid. Do you know it? I never fell for that shit. I'm like, what am I not? I haven't fallen for that. See, that's the thing is, God. That's why I have my own opinion about like when people are like glorifying, like, oh, police, save, I don't want to define. I don't want to define. I just want them to work for themselves a little bit. I had to be on mandatory fitness. Fat dudes in the military told me my ass had to go to the gym, and they held my rank. Like I was like almost a 30-year-old airman basic. Slick sleeve. But I had such a strong presence. People like thought I was just like an officer because there was no rank. So they just, and I'd just be like, I'd tell, just do it. Just do it. Just go do it. Don't complain about having to do it because you could already be out the door halfway getting it done. It's just like I freaking got out of the military because the standards were sub fucking par. That I thought these people were going to be better than they were. And they weren't. So I'm like, I'm going to freaking go out and live in the pride. Because I know that they're scumbags. But here, I thought that these people were supposed to be the cream of the crop. Not the cream of the crap. And see, in the military, to get into the military, all you got to do on the ASVAB is score a 36. A 36, okay? Might be different now. This was back in 2000. But I asked the recruiter all these questions because I ask a lot of questions I want to know about shit. And I was like, what do police have to score? He said a 37. The second lowest score. That's all you got to do. So what they do is they're like, okay, give the dumb guy guns. Because all they got to remember is when to put your finger on the trigger or not. And then, hopefully there's not war. Because once their frickin' psyches are shoveled, some guys are made for it and some guys are not, but most of them, are not, but then get signed up. It's messy, man. Messy to see that. I had to bring a light all see because age, flight line support, you got to do all this shit. You're always there. UFOs crash, the lights that we brought there, age is always there. You don't got nothing without support. Without lights, without power, you don't got none of that shit. And we are all generators. We are all that shit. We make stuff from nothing happen. Been doing it in my life. So, then they let the cops. You only need a 37, and then they give them, and then when they go home, it's an E. Because if you look at all your police stations around the country, all you need is a high school degree. A high school degree or a GED to be but it's all a club because, if you're a military person that comes back, oh yeah, let this guy name sir, we know him. But if you're, Joe Blow that just wants to get a job, that's a good guy and wants to, you ain't going to get in because the guy that already knows people, they get in. That's why I'm unemployable in Oregon because that's how it is. And that's how it is everywhere. You can't, that's why I'm trying to earn be my own revenue with all my computer knowledge and mechanical skill. Just like contract me out for Heyoka, photography, whatever. Check out my Snapmax picture. I got a badass picture of the moon the other night. It was freaking. Anyway, so, but and then all these guys just turned it into a bros club. Where they forgot to be, where they got, and then the cities and the states and the administration just started promising them bigger buildings and more office equipment and shit like that, and bigger SUVs to drive and better equipment and ROMRADs and all this tactical shit if they keep voting for her in the office. It's all bribes. It's all disingenuous. It's all seedy and evil, and it's all black magic. And have you noticed how different the frickin' path of the moon and the sun is? The sun is going like it never. I've lived here 4 years, and it's been sliding. It used to go right like this. The eclipse, the greatest silent eclipse, it happened in my backyard, and it was right here. And now the sun is like and sets. It's shit always changes, and people think that there's a normal and how things are going to be, and they don't realize from one year to the next, Because they're just like, but lighting's different. Everything's different. It's freaking wild, man. And see, people got to keep thinking, manifesting the best version of what spring is going to be. Good things. Don't start thinking asteroids and all that stuff, because the more people lock into a timeline, an idea, a storyline, the more that storyline is going to happen. That's how shared consciousness works. It's like clocks that Rick Levine talks about, the clocks guy who used to wind up the clocks. He was a clockmaker and he used to wind up all the clocks, and he'd leave his clock store and they'd all be going all kinds of way, but in the morning he'd come in and they'd all be sunk up. Well, we are just clocks timed by electricity and our frequency. And so all the low vibers that have been serving the Luciferi, they know their clocks. They're raising in the frequency, because everybody else is like, you can't be evil. It ain't cool to be evil. And people are trying to make it cool to be evil. And it ain't freaking cool to be evil. It ain't cool to eat people. It ain't cool to kids. It ain't cool to hunt people. It ain't cool to it ain't, none of this shit has been cool. And it's been happening right under our freaking noses. Because people say, no, that's in the movies. And they put it in the movies so they can say, no, that's in the movies. But, everybody's figuring out all the same data. There's only so many storylines that ultimately get people to see the same truths. I don't know about the whole clone thing. Because Mom, when we were kids, Mom had, I don't know what happened, what they did to her, but there were times that she accused my brother and I of being clones. And, her story is just wild. My story is wild, man. I can't even make this stuff up and then think, and then people are just like, no, my brother just forgot about it. Now, Mom with her stroke, she don't remember a lot of it now, so it's just my recollection now, and But people like Jesse Zabor and stuff like that are coming forward with their story, and their shit verifies freaking things that happened in my life when I was younger. I'm not saying that I can prove ever but we got to know in within ourselves, And the Mom took us from Morro Bay to Redding because she had the idea that we were gonna end up in Montana in the woods being hunted, and that was back in the 80s. I'm getting a crick in my neck. Because that tells me something right there. So, and now they're all this, all the nasty freaking, all the monarchy, all the, the people that have just, they've controlled and hierarchy stuff. See, I always am suspect of anyone that thinks that they're better than anybody else. For any reason. We all have strengths and weaknesses, The only, I love this song. Dusty Springfield. I love music, man. It raises my vibe. It's so very wonderfully, beautifully synchronistic too. Like, I'm always like, I'll be down, I'll freaking start to talk to somebody, or like I'll be at the laundromat or something like that, and then I'll hear a song. Like, if it's cool, I'll hear a song and they'll like say a word at the same time something in the song says it. Yeah, I do synchronicities with Mom, the shows that she watches all the time. Often, I'll stand there, I'll say a word, and they'll say the same word on the TV. Yeah, it's pretty cool, because this shit was made freaking, today she's watching NCIS. So that shit's been made, how long ago? That's why I wanted to name it, Agent, because of Mark Harmon, man. I never liked that guy. I always liked his wife, Pam Dauber, but I always had a bad feeling about that Mark guy. And I always understood that old girl quit the show because, he freaking had a dog that bit people, that bit somebody. And I guess it was a bad bite. And I've had bad bites too. And I understand like circumstances and stuff like that. But if it's your dog, you don't get to make people scared because it's you want to take your dog to work, especially if that dog harms somebody. I'm not saying that all dogs, there's circumstances. I don't think that if a dog bites somebody they should be put. I don't think that should be that ever. Nope. 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 There's always the explanations and there's that's no. Everybody's entitled to their life and so any the people. So anyway, where's your drink from? Oh, but that guy, man. It's like the later he did not age gracefully, and that's what happened to what was that other DiNozzo? He left the show because he had to go to rehab, and you could tell that dude became a drunk because he got all puffy. Booze, man, it takes your spirit, man. I'm telling you. Oh, and I know I love drink. Oh, I love Oblivion. I used to love Oblivion. Now I just created a life for myself that I don't need to feel like I need to escape from anymore. I had to run a cat off today. It was bugging Stanley. It was mocking me too. It was sitting under the big red truck, under the back rear left tire, outside the window, and just so I chased him off. Get out of here! See, animals are low vibey too. You don't get to instigate and tease and make fun. It's all that stuff. Wickedry, and we're about the season for the wickedness. But hey, you know what? You know what's funny though? The funny thing about Libra season, we'll get coming into balance, but Scorpio season, that's what I get all excited about. But that's when I always want to drink the most too. Like red wine. I feel like, ugh. No, not this year. Got too much shit to do. No. But let's see. What month? September, October. So June babies. So I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of June babies. So about 9 months. Around June, that time frame. There's the next generation that's being kicked in right now. There's like, the next, because we got there ain't near as many people on this planet as they've said. There ain't 7 billion people on this planet. There's not. There's no freaking way. No. I just go by like the cities that I know. No. And I've been all over the world. I've been all over the United States of America, and they say there's 382 million. I've flown all over. I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, where are they, all these millions of people that they... No. There's no way. They just inflate the budgets to account for these said numbers. That's all. There ain't no way. There's no way. I spent the better part... This was back when Dennis Eagleson was staying here for a second. A while back. And I spent the better part of an afternoon going through the list of counties by county in California, adding up populations, and it was not 38 million. It was like 22. Something like that. And I'm like, why aren't people talking about the population? There's no way there's that many. There's no way. No. Because, look at, and it's funny. Because, think about where you live in your local area and how often doesn't matter. You always see the same people. You're always seeing the same people. Like, in the city limits of Salem, Oregon, there's 167,000 people. I don't drive a lot. But I still, if I go the same route, I still see the same people. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter. It's like, people are figuring it out, man. The Matrix or whatever. Whatever. Like, it's always been like this. I've always seen the world different, and then people look at it one kind of way, and I'm like, I don't even live in the rest in the world. I don't even live in the same world everybody else lives in. I don't. Never have. Never have. Never have. Just always being the weird little goofy girl, you know. Little gay bob. Little gay wad. I'll be out in my gay raj. I miss having a gay raj. I do gay things in my like I'd like make my dog beds because I do my carpentry work, gay things, you know. I ain't a pervert. I was they sexualized me very 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 young, but I've always been a monogamous spirit, you know, and I always figured that there's one gal that I would end up with, and I figure that I would want to have to explain to her who I was to become the person. I wanted to just always kind of be a decent person, so whenever I'd be like, you know, want to get involved in a situation, I'd be like, is this who you're going to marry? Probably not. Okay, walk away. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I've lived my life, and it's just I don't even see women that I don't even see them, like, even though I'm like always looking for the hot chick, you know, who I think is, and every now and again, no, I see them, but then they drop out. I think Heidi Vandenberg is beautiful. And she don't do videos no more. She's busy doing other shit. And I hope she's happy, and I hope she's doing... She did a reading for me one time. I wanted her to do another one for me, but I don't think she's doing them anymore. I think she's off into a different chapter of her life, but she's still... Her videos are still there, so when I feel like being around her Spitfire or Moxie, I'll go over and I'll listen to her videos that she hasn't done, and, you know, that she did a couple years ago. And I'm in her chats, you know. I told her, I wrote one time, I said, I would go through high school again to ask you to go to prom. Only to get turned down. Even if you turn me down, I would go through high school again just to ask. But, yeah, she's a pretty lady. And she cares about herself, you know, but she's freaking across the country, you know. I mean, it's like, I always thought it'd be cool because I think that there's like, someone, I know who it is, but I'm not going to say, but there's like a coffee shop in I always thought it'd be cool to go meet her for a cup of coffee, at least, and maybe have a smoothie or something. But yeah, besides, my picker's broken anyway. Or it had been. I don't know, I've done a lot of work to heal myself. I really have, so I think I'm ready for that chapter, but I come with a lot, and I don't see, and that's the thing, is I was like, there's I got a lot of deal breakers. and I'm a tall order, so I come with mod, a whole pack and all this stuff, so it's like, I think I would be better in a relationship, honestly, with somebody that had a house in a different state, and that we could like go back and forth and have two different experiences, kind of thing. Of course, monogamous, ain't no having freaking side dishes, none of that stuff. No, none of that, none of it. But to I don't necessarily have to live with the person that just as long as I know that they're there and they're gonna not, freaking be a freaking pass themselves around like the seventh tradition basket. I made a joke one time. I wanted to do I could do stand up, I'm sure I'd tell my story, but I was just like, I've dated chicks so trashy that even their memory foam mattresses couldn't keep track of who they were doing. Sometimes 2 hearts on the same day. Oh my God, doing 2 different people on the same day. There by the grace of God, But even in my drinking days, I'm like, I'd go out, I'm like, I want to meet somebody, and then I never even see pretty girls, so it's just go home and watch YouTube videos. But anyway, I think about that. I think I've been running my mouth a little bit too long. I think my ego is a little stretching, but I feel pretty good about things. Mom feels good about things. Look at these clouds, man. These clouds. The several tone. I don't know if the camera's gonna... Here, let me see if I can get the camera to adjust. Nope. Nope. Let me go back over here. It's not picking it up. Yeah, it's not going to pick it up. But what I'm seeing is like some really dark ass clouds. Like dark gray, like gunmetal gray. And then orange on the top. So to me, that tells me that there's a lot of density. It's a lot of heavy density, moisture. They're not light and puffy, like you can't see through them. But anyway, I hope you guys have some hot plans. I hope somebody's gonna be in a live later. You go ahead. You know, it was a trip when I was at the laundromat the other day. I was in the laundromat with several regulars that I see on a regular basis. People that I've had conversation, and it was just like, it's so weird that when you start seeing the same version of, or this different versions of the same like person. It's such a trip, man. And timelines are so flipping out right now. Even Mom is like, man, it's like it being in a different dimension. I said, Mom, I think we're in a higher dimension and the rest of the world is catching up to us. That's what I think, Mom. Because even the lady that's at the laundromat, it was like 11:30 the other morning, and I was like, 11:30, is that it? And she's like, I just said the same thing to myself. I looked up at the clock, and she's like, I feel like it's just like 4:30 in the afternoon or something like I've had a full day, and it's 11:30, and people are having the same weird experiences. You know, see, because so long people have just set on one reality. You get up, you go to work, you go to school, you do what you're supposed to do. But there's just this quantum metaphysical world, all this stuff. I saw you, Demetra. Is that, yeah? I saw earlier that you went to a magic. You had gone to a magic. I have the ability to telekinesis. I get it from my mom. I call it my lighter trick. I'm sure I could. It's the only thing I've ever done, and if I had time to focus on stuff like that, I'd do it. But I can rock a lighter off somebody's hand. It's balancing. Hey Nubs, what's up, squirrel? What are you doing, homie? I haven't seen you in forever. You got your nuts. Your little face is full of nuts. Good for you, homie. Right on. Good for you. Right on. Put those nuts away, homie. He always has the same path. Even the animals have their patterns, you know? So people have been programmed to have their patterns, and now everybody's patterns. I was talking about the magic school. Yeah. There's a one in Bethel, called Bethel, in where I grew up. Everybody talks about Bethel and how Bethel's ruining Redding because all the church people are buying up all the properties and raising all the rents, and they're only letting their friends, you know. I'm like, it's everywhere. It's not just Bethel, you know. It's whoever gets to buy the property, they're going to designate who lives in it, you know. That's why you got to be good to people, so they want you to be a part of their community. But that the whole world's going through turnover. But see, all this magic, it's all, you know, all the stuff that's coming out is stuff that is just, it's always been, but people haven't been down at the lower end of the spectrum to see it. All the crap in the foster system, man, that is just to feed people in itself. That is just such a disgusting. I'm glad I stayed out of that system. Who knows what would have happened to me if I would have ended up in that system. Because somebody probably would have tried to do something to me, and I probably would have freaking jacked them. So I probably would have ended up in jail out of just self-preservation, you know. But that ain't my story. But there's, you know, I want to help. There's so many kids that freaking I can help, you know. And the thing is all these systems were designed. That's what they were supposed to help. all of this society that has fallen through the cracks, and they didn't. So now we got to come up with creative ways to freaking make sure that our own are taken care of. And by our own, I mean everybody, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with them or not. It don't take agreements with someone to freaking care enough about a person that they're not freaking sleeping in the rain under a freaking tarp. You know? Materials don't cost that much. The militaries and stuff just say they do so all their friends can get rich. But it don't cost that much to supply things that people... It don't do it. So people are going to start donating. It's going back to grassroots. We're going to do it. Because I got all the ideas. I just got to get to Reading. And then I can freaking start implementing this when I get Mom in a good place. So anyway, I want to thank you all for hanging out. If there's any lives on tonight, I'll be in the chat. Top dog, big dog, whatever. I got tiny dog. I can't remember his name. You know, just don't get in a dark place. You know, find cozy in the darkness. Look for the good stuff in the dark. You know, and if you see crazy, spooky shit in the dark, make friends with it. You know, if you get that scared, if you got a God, you know, in the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke you, Satan, and chances are you might find out it's just a wounded little entity that just needs a little freaking encouragement to be bumped back up to source. So maybe you could do it a solid and pray for it, and then it returns it, you know, back to its highest vibrational frequency of love, and it's released in its loop. Because people get stuck in loops, man. Getting stuck in a loop ain't that ain't no way to live. There ain't no spirit in that. That's what I got for now. Hope you have a rad evening. Peace.